Good day everyone! Before we are going to start our presentation, we want all of you listen to our discussion for today so that all of you will gain more knowledge and information. Are you ready guys? Okay, so now the topic that we want to discuss is the self-government and development in the Philippines under the American colonial rule. I want to share some overview about the American government in the Philippines and the America's policy of occupation. First is the American government in the Philippines. The American government in the Philippines refers to the period of Philippine history when the country was under the colonial rule of the United States from 1898 to 1946. The United States took control of the Philippines after winning the Spanish-American War in 1898 and subsequently established a colonial government. So it means that the Philippines colonized by the American after winning the Spanish-American War in 1898. And after that, they took control of the Philippines from 1898 to 1946. So during the American colonial period, the Philippines experienced significant changes and reforms in various aspects of its society, including the politics, economy, education, and infrastructure. Additionally, the Philippines finally gained its independence from the US on July 4, 1946, so that the Philippines and the US maintain a close relationship, and they providing economic and military aid to the country. Next is the America's policy of occupation. The policy of occupation refers to the United States' approach of maintaining a military presence and exerting control over certain territories or nations. It is typically after the conflict or war. The policy of occupation typically involves the deployment of U.S. military force to the occupied territory, with the aim of stabilizing the region, stabilizing security, and promoting democratic governance and economic development. So it means that they do this policy to maintain the military presence of US and control the certain territories or nations in order to stabilize the region, having a security, promoting the democratic governance, and have a development in the territories. One of example of America's policy of occupation is the colonization of the Philippines, which I mentioned earlier. The US occupied the Philippines from 1898 to 1946, during which time it established a colonial government and exerted control over the country's political, economic, and social affairs. However, the US policy of occupation in the Philippines was also marked by violent repression of Filipino nationalists who resisted American rule. The Philippine-American War on 1899 to 1902 was a bloody conflict between Filipino nationalists and American colonial forces, during which is estimated of 200,000 Filipinos lost their lives. Now I'm going to talk about President William McKinley. William McKinley was the 25th President of the United States, serving from 1897 until his assassination on 1901. He was a Republican on Ohio and served during a time of rapid industrialization and expansion of American influence overseas. So si William McKinley ay ang ika-25 Pangulo ng US mula 1897 hanggang sa pagkamatay nito noong 1901. Siya ay sinilang noong January 29, 1843 sa Ohio. Nagsilbi siya bilang isang sundalo ng Union noong digmaang sibil ng mga Amerika at kalaunan ay naging abogado. At siya ay naging miyembro ng US House of Representatives. Karagdagang impormasyon, siya din ay nahalal na gobernador ng Ohio noong 1891 at muling nahalal noong 1893 at 1895. Under President William McKinley's altruistic policy in the Philippines, the United States enticed the Filipino elites into a compromise with American colonialism. Ang ina-altruistic policy ay isang patakaran kung saan may layunin ito na itaguyod ang kapakanan ng iba kaysa sa sariling pangangailangan o interes. Sa ilalim ng altruistic policy ni William McKinley sa Pilipinas, hinikayat niya ang mga Pilipino na makisalamuha sa kolonyalismong Amerikano. Filipino elite leaders, particularly the Ilustrados, began to adhere to President McKinley's well-stated U.S. policy and his message to the U.S. Congress. So ilan sa mga pinunong Pilipino, especially ang mga Ilustrados, ay simulang sumunod sa mahusay na pagsambit ng mga policy ni William McKinley sa US Congress. Dahil ang layunin daw nito ay to develop, to civilize, to educate, and to train into the science of self-government ang mga Pilipino. To the next reporter, Miss Solano.
Good day, everyone. Our next topic is the America's other colonial behind the policy declaration. So number one is to pursue the America's manifest destiny as a world power. So this refers to the belief among some Americans na it was their nation's destiny para palawakin ang kanilang mga territory and ang influence across the globe. Kasi for them, ang pagsakop sa isang bansa tulad ng bansang Pilipinas ay isang paraan upang maipakita ang kanilang kapangyarihan at makilala sa global stage. Number 2, to use the Philippines as a source of raw materials for U.S. industries and as a market for U.S. manufactured surplus products. So as we all know, Philippines is rich in raw materials. So the U.S. saw the Philippines as a potential source of raw materials, such as the timber and the rubber. This could be used to fuel the American industries. So at the same time, American manufacturers hope to use the Philippines as a new market for their products, which were produced in excess of domestic demand. Number 3, to use the Philippines as a military and naval base to balance power in Asia. So the US also recognized the strategic value of the Philippines as a military and naval base in Asia. So sa pamamagitan ng pagtatatag ng malakas na presensya sa rehiyon, inaasahan ng Amerika na magkakaroon ng balanse sa kapangyarihan ng mga ibang bansa tulad ng Hapon at Russia, na isa rin sa nagpapalawak ng kanilang impluwensya sa rehiyon ng Pilipinas. The last one is to have a refueling port for American ships servicing their interest in China. So the US also recognized the importance of China as a potential market for the American goods and as a source of investment opportunities. So sa pamamagitan ng pagkakaroon ng isang refueling port sa Pilipinas, so the US hoped to establish a foothold, which means to secure in the region and facilitate trade and investment opportunities with China. So the list of topics, Filipino involvement in American government in the Philippines in 1899 to 1913. The Philippinization of American government in the Philippines. This will be discussed by our next report.
Filipino involvement, American government in the Philippines, 1899-1913. Three successive terms of American military governors. First is General Wesley Merritt, August 16, 1898. An American Major General who served in the cavalry of the United States Army during the American Civil Wars, American Indian Wars, and Spanish-American War. Second is General Elwin S. Otis, 1898-1900, a United States Army general who served in the American Civil War, Indian Wars, the Philippine Late in the Spanish-American War, and during the Philippine-American War. General Arthur MacArthur, 1900-1901, a Lieutenant General of the United States Army, he became the military government general of the American-occupied Philippines in the 1900. His terms ended a year later due to clashes with the civilians governors, future U.S. President William Oswald. The goal of these three American military governments in the Philippines aimed to establish Americans to control over the new acquired territory and bring about modernization, development, and reforms in various areas. The next presenter is Mr. De La Vega.
After Mr. Calma introduced the three generals, so the question is, what is their main purpose here in the Philippines? In preparation for foundation of civilian government in the Philippines, the three American military governors focused on pacification of campaign. In preparation for the foundation of civilian government in the Philippines, the three generals are focused on the pacification of campaign. So after they used pacification of campaign, the American used subtle strategy of conquest to win the support of the Filipino elites. The American school system to civilize and educate Filipinos to embrace democracy, organized civil courts and appointed Filipino jurists, established town and provinces and installed pro-American local leaders to participate in local governmental affairs as apprentices of the American system of governance. Goal of the first election: to train the Filipinos to govern their constituencies in the way Americans wants them to towards achieving their ulterior motives. Three reasons why Filipino elite leaders opted to collaborate with the American authorities: economic benefits, social status, and political power. What is pacification of campaign? This is an attempt to create or maintain peace in particular area in the Philippines. It involves military efforts to maintain peace and end a rebellion. What is Filipino jurist? Why did the American create a organized civil courts and appointed Filipino jurist? So we all know that Filipino jurist is a individual that has an expertise in the Philippine law and the legal system of the Philippines. So ginamit ng mga Amerikano ang Filipino jurist upang mas mahawakan ang mga Pilipino. What kind of people or who are these people called pro-American local leaders? These are the individuals who prioritize a strong relationship with the United States. They may have a favorable view of American culture, politics, and values, and may see closer ties with the US as a beneficial for the Philippines' economic and political interest. So this is the reason why the US government wants to start a election over Luzon, Visayas, and Mindanao. So after the election was held over Luzon, Visayas, and Mindanao, the pacification of campaign was exist. Who are the Filipino elites? So Filipino elites, this is the individual or groups who hold a significant power, wealth, and influence in Philippine society. This can include wealthy businessmen or political leaders or a high-ranking government officials. So in short, these are the people na mayaman or malakas ang kapit sa gobyerno. Ginamit lamang ng mga Amerikano ang mga eleksyon upang mapaniwala ang mga tao sa kanilang matatamis na salita. Ito ay para mapasunod ang mga Pilipino sa kagustuhan ng mga Amerikano to achieve their ulterior motives. Ginamit lamang ng Amerikano ang election upang mas mapaniwala ang mga Pilipino at mapasunod sila sa kagustuhan nila. There are reasons why Filipino elites opted to collaborate with the American authorities. We all know that Filipino elites these are the people who has a power, or in short, because Filipino elite leaders wants to collaborate with American government, it is because para lamang sa pansariling interest. That is the reality. So here, I upload a short video clips as an example of Filipino elites, and ito rin ang rason kung bakit ayaw ni General Luna na tayo ay tuluyan na masakop ng mga Amerikano. So kung mapapanood dito, ito ay isang pagpupulong between the general and those Filipino elite leaders. So kung mapapansin nyo, ang kausap ni General Luna ay ang mga Filipino elites. Walang ibang alam and takot silang makipaglaban. So ay takot ang mga Filipino elites na makipaglaban sa mga Amerikano dahil nga sa kanilang sariling interes.
Good day, everyone. So today we are going to talk about the central government of America and the two commissions that they've appointed to assist the Philippines. So the President of the United States of America, which is William McKinley, planned to take over the Philippines by using the two commissions that he have appointed to assist the Philippines. So pinakauna na dyan is the Sherman Commission. Ipinatupad niya ito noong taong 1899 for it to provide information and recommendation on how will it assist the Philippines. So kung paano sila makapag-proceed after the sovereignty noong December 10, 1898. Ang pangalawa naman na ipinatupad ni William McKinley noong 1900s is the Top Commission. So, ang goal ng Top Commission is to exercise legislative and limited executive power in the Philippines. So the goal of these two bodies is to help the central government of America to assist in governing the Philippines.
Good morning, everyone. I will discuss about the American colonial strategies to establish collaboration with cultural communities in the Cordilleras and Southern Mindanao regions of the Philippines. Cordilleras. The American used a strategy of military force and benevolent treatment to establish their rule in the Cordilleras. They initially used firepower to stop headhunting, skirmishes, and disputes among the Cordilleras tribes. When this was not effective, they shifted to benevolent treatment to gain the trust of the natives. They established local governments in the Cordilleras and appointed Cordilleras native to political positions. For those who did not make it political position, they recruited them into American constabulary. This strategy was successful in establishing American rule in the region but had its limitation. In Southern Mindanao, the American approach in Southern Mindanao was political coexistence and mutual respect for personal property and political rights. However, the Sultanate government of the Datus and Sultan was a challenge to American political presence in the region. To avoid agitating the Muslim leaders, the American negotiated and concluded treaties such as Bates Treaty and Carpenter-Creel Agreement. These treaties eroded the power of the way for American sovereignty in military force and political maneuvering. The approach had both positive and negative consequence for the Muslim leaders and their communities.
Good day, everyone. Our next topic is about the Philippinization of American government in the Philippines. So, Francis Borton Harrison was the first Democratic governor in the Philippines from 1913 to 1921, and advocated for oversaw the process of Philippinization or the transfer of authority to Filipinos in the United States territory. Insular government together prepare for independence. And also, his appointment resulted in the first implementation of America. And political policies in the Philippines. And Filipinos were given sustained participation and government. So, and also he initiated the rapid Philippinization of the government which involved Filipinos of various levels of bureaucracy. However, only Filipino elites, including landlords, capitalists, and government employees. During the Spanish period, who could read and write were included in this process. So that's all. May I go on for the next presenter, Ms. Belmonte Jane.
Thank you, Mr. Complet. So let's now proceed to Philippinization. So when we say Philippinization in context of history, it is a gradual or general replacement of Americans by Filipinos in government service. Philippinization in government involving the participation of the Filipino elite was favorable to the Americans. So, who are those elites? Elites are those individuals with a very high social status during that time. So, it was seen as an aid rather than a hindrance to colonialism. American literally has their economic interest since day one in the Philippines. And lastly, the Americans believe that keeping the elite involved in the government would benefit American economic interest in the Philippines, on where it is allowed for economic partnership between America and Filipino landlords and capitalists. So for now, I will call Mr. Misalas for the next presentation.
The partnership between American and Filipino landowners and capitalists led to a special relationship. This relationship was reflected in the free trade policies provided for the Payne-Aldrich Tariff of 1909 during the Harrison era. So this free trade refers to selling or free trade or free entry of Philippine products to the U.S. markets. Um, this free trade means um, the U.S. market allows the products of the Filipinos to enter legally without even paying bills, entry fees, taxes, or other payments needed or required for them to sell their products to the U.S. market. These policies made the Philippines a U.S. market of surplus goods in Asia, with American capitalists benefiting the most. So, according sa unang definition kanina, Americans are giving us free trade. So, free entry of our products to their country or to their market, but it should have been us who benefits more. So, why does the American capitalists are the one who's benefiting the most to the free trade policy? So, the simple explanation to this is the products that we actually sent or sold in the US market are high quality, yet at a lower price. So at the time that it will reach the US market, the American capitalist has the ability to buy products or to buy high quality products from us at a lower price. So that's why the American capitalist benefits the most to the free trade policy. The lopsided effect of the free trade policies went beyond just the economic aspect of Filipino life, but also impact the political, social, and cultural fields. So, hindi ibig sabihin na so since na ang mga Americans ay bumibili ng raw products from us, it does not mean that they can sell product from us. So, vice versa lang yun, yung free trade policy. So, they buy products from us, but they also sell products from us. So, dinidevelop nila yung products, yung raw materials na galing sa atin, then binibenta sa atin in a higher price. So, this event led to the domination of American goods in the local market, destruction of local industries, displacement of workers, causing poverty and unemployment. It also had a profound impact on Filipino society's traditional values and cultural practices, leading to cultural imperialism and erosion of Filipino identity. Lastly, due to this event, it allowed for the American corporations and politicians felt significant influence over Philippines politics, ultimately suppressing Filipino nationalism and consolidating American colonial power. That's all. Thank you.